how I drafted the sleeve block from drawing the bodice block. The sleeve length starting from the shoulder point down to the length to the wrist. The measurement is taken as per the picture on the side here. How we mark the cap height point as shown on the diagram here. It's on the shoulder to just about around about your armpits. And now join the cap height to the underarm. What I mark it is the length of the upper arm circumference. So it gives it some extension from the underarm, as you cannot draw a drafted sleeve directly from the underarm. You've got to give it a little bit of room for ease for movement. I now extend the cap height line from the newly drawn line here, and it is the length of your upper arm circumference. Using the point along perpendicular tool, I now draw, it's my wrist circumference, which is 19 divided by 2, and apply, click OK. And then extend this point 19, which is my full wrist circumference. Okay, now that I've got all that done, I will draw my side underarm seam lines, which is from your wrist to this point where I drew your upper arm circumference line. And this is what, with the curve part tool, I draw from, this would be your left of your sleeve, and the underarm point to your shoulder point, and then from the shoulder point to the under point on the right hand side. Now press enter. I now shape the armor curve curvely using the handles of the curve. As you would notice that it is taking shape, and that will be your sleeve head. The back of the armhole, I take it a little bit higher and I take it a little deeper on the front, as the front is slightly deeper than the back. I now separate my sleeve from the bodice. I'm using the Move Objects tool. Using the Control key, I click onto the points that I need for the draft of the sleeve. I click on all the points. Make sure you click on all the points, otherwise you will never get the full points. And then I click enter, and then I move my point, and once you click there, you can rotate it. Okay, and then I press apply and I press OK. Now you got the construction of your sleeve. By using the line tool, I now complete. And if you want to use the same tool again, you just press L and you click on there, and you'll be having the same tool that you last used. And that completes your drafting of your sleeve. And now you notice if there is a mistake and you got it, the shape is just totally incorrect, you can take your, on this draft itself, once you readjust here, if you watch closely on the thing, you'll see that it gets adjusted automatically. Any adjustments you make to the construction here, it will reshape your sleeve. If you notice the sleeve here has changed, you can take this and make it a little bit more deeper, and then now you can see it has changed. You can notice here that your back armhole and your front armhole is not the same because your front armhole is deeper than your back. Also, please note, when you're at this stage here, you could also segment your lines into 3 divisions to get a much more accurate shape of your curve. I did not show it to you here because it is too much in detail and you got to know all your calculations and mathematical equations to do that, and you got to understand that. So to make it much more simplified, I showed you what I did. Using the detail tool, the workpiece tool, I create the detail of my piece that I had created. And please make note that all your pieces are falling in a clockwise direction, otherwise your pieces won't get selected when you are selecting them. And once you completed, you press enter and you press OK, and you go into the detail. Your pattern piece will be ready for you. Here's your pattern piece. When you select the piece, you can move it around. Now you click onto your piece and you press option and you press seam allowance and you click on the seam. I got my seam width as 1.27 centimeters because I'm using centimeters, and then I press apply and I press OK. So now this is just a straightforward piece, so you don't need to do anything else. You can also go in here, options, and you can create a label. Last line you enter sleeve. You can increase the size of it. You can move it to the center. Press enter again and I will type a cut tool. Okay, and then I go on to the labels, and then you put piece label. I'll click it and I'll change my size. You can change the size of your label or you can leave it as it is, whichever it suits you. I press enter and I press OK, and there's my sleeve label. In the corner of the sleeve label, you will notice that there is a dot, and if you click on it, you'll notice the X that appears. You can increase and decrease the width of your label. And when you click on the label, you'll find that you get it changes direction. You can change it, and there's a little dot here. You press it, you can rotate your label. If you don't want to rotate it, you can just adjust it. This is completing that sleeve draft. Options, you can also add the grain line to your pattern piece. You press grain line and you got to tick the box for it to appear, and you can add the size, your rotation. Well, I leave it at 90 degrees. I'll leave it at 10 at the moment to show you how it appears. And then you press apply and you press OK. And same like the label, you can click on the dot and you can increase the size or you can decrease it, and you can move it around whatever position you want. And that's about it.